Hello, guys. Hi. I know it's been like almost 2 months or 3 months since I've been on YouTube, but I've not been on YouTube because I've been on TikTok, and I feel like to an extent it's a bit easier to make videos on TikTok. So that's where I've been having fun on TikTok. I don't know who saw Mr. Easy's post where he says, "Oh my God, he's feeling TikTok." Yes, it was talking for the both of us because I've been feeling TikTok, and but I said I should up on here because I promised one of my friends that I'm going to post a YouTube video today. And instead of just making a video of this for TikTok, I'm going to make one for YouTube. But quickly, so I don't waste you guys, so I don't waste your time. Happy Sunday, by the way. I feel morally responsible to greet you happy Sunday. But happy Sunday, happy Sunday. I'm so excited. Please don't ask me the reason why. But last week Sunday I traveled, and one of the reasons why I love road travel is that I get to interact with nature. In this Lagos, we don't really get nature like that. But I get to interact with nature to think and reflect and do all those things. And so on last week Sunday, while I was traveling, I was just thinking about it, and it occurred to not that it occurred to me then. I mean, it's something that I've known, but like I sat down to keep scores of the prayers that God has answered for me. And that brought me to a point of realization that God answers prayers. Obviously, that's an obvious fact. But like, I literally started counting scores. I was like, you know what? The problem really has never been that God doesn't answer prayers, because I look at some of the seemingly insignificant things that I've prayed for, the very small things that I've prayed for that God has answered. And I'm like, sometimes, yeah, when those big things happen, it's like, oh my God, it's a miracle working God. But in those very small things that you ask God for, and He consistently answers you, sometimes it baffles me because I'm like, these aren't things you should even stress yourself about as a all powerful, all big, almighty God. These are not things that I feel like you should stress yourself about. Say, for instance, when I was growing up in secondary school, I had this little prayer I used to pray to God that, oh, whenever I wanted to write exams, at least the very first day of my period should not fall on an exam day. And I kid you guys not, from secondary school till now, it has never happened. Like, I don't, I mean, of course, I don't set exam days for most of the exams that I've written so far. But it can only by, I mean, you can say it's coincidence, but really, how lucky can one be that from my senior secondary till now is being like that? So that's one example of those very small little prayers that I feel like I pray to God, and is is answered me. Can I think of another one? Yeah. Remember when I was going to law school, I wrote down a bunch of confessions of the things that I wanted to happen, of the things that I wanted. And it's easy to say, oh, I wrote down in my confession that I wanted a first class and I got a first class. But you guys won't believe that, down to details of how I wanted to live, the kind of house. Like, at that point, I didn't even know that I was going to stay off campus. I thought, okay, maybe in a school hostel. I didn't even know how Enugu would be. In fact, before I was posted, before I was posted, I'd put it there. Like, I'd realized that I picked Lagos as my first choice, and I didn't really want to go to Lagos. And then I put it there that, okay, God, this is the description. I didn't know where exactly would make sense. I'd not been to other campuses, but this is the description of the campus that I want to be like. And I was posted to Enugu, and I was so happy. I was really happy. When I got there, I felt like answered prayers. Down to the room, the accommodation I felt like I needed to be able to like read well, to perform well, so I'm not stressed by like daily activities and stuff. Every single thing to the last detail, God took care of it. I think, like, even beyond what I would have like naturally expected it to be. And to me, that's one of the not so significant prayers, or like, I mean, the significant part of that confession really was, okay, I come out with first class, but the very little things like my accommodation was settled. I have another example. Before I left Enugu, in fact, this confession wasn't something that I did for long. I just made it, and did it for maybe like few times, and I forgot about it. But I put a description of where I wanted to live when I came back to Lagos, because I knew I was going to be moving from where I was. And I put a description of where I wanted to live. And it was just maybe like earlier this year, it just occurred to me that I did something like that, and where I stay, or where I stay, fits the description of this place. And I'm like, so really, the problem has never been that God does not answer prayers. It's obvious it does. So what exactly is the problem? Why is it that when sometimes I I pray for things, or I expect that some things to happen. I want some things to happen and it doesn't happen. So why am I getting worried? Why am I so tense? Why am I so, why am I putting myself under a lot of pressure when I know that one established fact is that God answers prayers? And I realized that the problem is that I am trying to micromanage God's timeline. Like, I'm trying to micromanage God in terms of timelines. Like, I want what I want when I want it. And I guess that's like the problem with a lot of us. Like, we want what we want at a certain time. The concept of waiting for things, it doesn't really sit. I mean, I think like generally, like even the generation that we have, things happen quick. I send you a text message, you receive it. I send you an iMessage, you receive it almost immediately. Everyone is priced themselves on the speed of delivery of whatever service that they're providing. So really, we're like a fast generation, we're a fast generation. So we're used to getting things like quick. Like send you an email, you receive it, i I call you for something, you pick up almost immediately, or at least I know that I can reach you almost immediately, compared to like our parents time. I know my mom used to tell me about when like landline, or they had to send a post to someone, so they probably understood the concept of waiting more than we do right now. But yeah, that's the reality that we have. And so I think that that concept of waiting for things to happen is is where we struggle. And I was wondering, if I decide to stop, like once I've established that God answers prayers and it goes beyond imaginations or beyond expectations, even gives me things that I didn't even know that I needed, but like it's even better than what I asked for. If that's an established fact, can I get to a point where I actually stop trying to take control of the process? Like I stop trying to take control of the timeline. I stop trying to say, okay, I want this thing this October, or like I want to do a certain thing in like December. That's like great timing. That's like very good with my own estimation. What if I just stopped micromanaging, stopped trying to set the time, set the pace, set everything for God to do? Would I live in a better state of peace? Would I have peace on issues that I've prayed for? And one thing I've realized is that worry is such an unproductive activity. It is such an unproductive activity. Literally, you worry about things and it never produces any results. Like, and I hate inefficiencies. Like, if I know that there's something I'm doing that never produces result. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't exactly like crying about issues. Like, if I'm crying, I just know, I just feel like crying. But like, it never really solves anything. Like, think about it. Something happened. I mean, it's the only thing it does. The only thing crying does is helps you like maybe release emotional stress, stuff like that. But outside of that, when people sit down and cry over a situation, when they stand up, nothing changes. So like, what's the point? What's the point? So I actually don't like unproductive activities. And it's why I feel like worry just waste our time. I think I saw somewhere that it also kind of like helps us to gauge how our faith is, because we're worrying about things just signifies or indicates that maybe my faith isn't really strong in God, and I don't trust him enough to be able to do this thing at the right and appointed time. And so the point of this video, if I don't say the point of the video, did I really make a video? But the point of the video really is that we should stop micromanaging or attempting to micromanage God with his timeline. Again, because when we understand that God's ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts, we should do like David or be like David. And when he said, I waited patiently, or I waited and waited for the Lord, and then he answered me. Like that, he answered me is a guarantee already. Like it's, when someone says, I'm guaranteeing you that this is going to happen, like it's a sure guarantee, it would never change. The only thing that is the variable in all of this equation is us and our inability to wait, our inability to be patient with God. And I think, isn't that why they said, I mean, they said we should add to our faith patience, didn't they? I mean, they, yeah, like the authors of the Bible. Or I don't know, I can't remember what particular passage that I probably can remember if I get off the camera, but that's why they said we should add to our faith patience. And patience builds endurance in us. And so, yeah, let's just adopt this habit of, waiting. And I know that a lot of us don't like uncertainties, especially me. I don't like uncertainties. I like to know, I like to see if you leave me, I want to know what's going to happen like 2 years from now. Like every single month, this is going to happen. I like to plan ahead, okay, this is going to happen. So let me put this in place. Let me put this in place. Or even the Bible says that, like, even when it was talking about prophecies, it was like, oh, prophets prophesy in parts. They prophesy in parts, so they don't know the full thing. So at no point in time would we have a full picture of our lives. We would never have full picture of our lives. So we should just hold on to that guarantee that God answers our prayers, and you know let go of the process. Enjoy your life while in the process. Like, do whatever it is when you're waiting on God for things, like whatever it is that makes sense to do at that point, building your faith, reading the Bible, praying, like regular activities that you do. You want to fast and wait on Him more for strength. Wonderful, great. Do all the things you want to do. If it's even something that, okay, maybe towards this thing that you're praying for, you need to, do some preparations. By all means, do it, but that timeline, leave it to God. Like, just let's go of it. Like, and I think you realize that once you let go of the timeline of when things would happen, because they would happen either ways, you live a freer life, you live a better life. And I think this is one of the reasons why um the concept of redeeming our time, of being conscious of time, so we don't waste time. Because like I said before, worrying is unproductive. Worrying is unproductive. It only wastes your time. Because by the time what you want, what you're praying for, when it comes to pass, you're gonna be like, okay, so why was I stressing? Like, I've had situations like that. I'll be like, okay, so why was I stressing myself? Why was I getting into a mood? Why was I doing this? Why was I doing that? Okay, this thing has happened, but like the 2 days I spent sleeping on my couch and refusing to do something productive, that's gone. I can't get it back. So like, probably doing away with worry is a way of redeeming our time, of living with people that have full consciousness of God's power and His ways. All right, bye till next time. And if that next time doesn't come very soon, just connect with me on TikTok. That's where the tea is at.